When I tell you to act as if you are the best, I'm not speaking of arrogance or comparison with others. I'm speaking of recognizing and embodying your divine nature. For you are God's own image and likeness made manifest in flesh. Many of you come to these lectures believing that others are better than you, more talented than you, more deserving than you. But I tell you this, such beliefs are nothing but assumed imitations. And like all assumptions, they can be changed in a single moment of understanding. Consider this: when Scripture says, I am that I am, it's revealing the fundamental truth of your being. You are not becoming the best, you are the best. Your only task is to recognize and assume this truth until it becomes your living reality. Let me share with you what I mean by acting as if you are the best. It's not about competing with others or proving your superiority. It's about assuming the state of being the person you desire to be, knowing that no one can prevent you from expressing your highest conception of yourself. When you truly grasp that consciousness is the only reality, you understand that your concept of self determines everything you experience. If you assume others are better than you, the universe must conform to provide experiences that confirm this assumption. If you assume you are the best, the universe must, and I emphasize must, reorganize itself to reflect this assumption back to you. Here's a profound truth that few understand. Your present concept of self, the one that makes you feel less than others, is just as much a step as the one I'm asking you to adopt. You weren't born believing others were better than you. You learned to assume this through experience and accepted it as truth. Changing this assumption requires a complete revision of your self-concept. You must begin to live from the assumption that you are the best, not through comparison with others, but through the recognition of your divine nature. For when I say you are the best, I'm speaking of your true identity as pure consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in consciousness when you truly assume you are the best. First, all sense of competition falls away. When you know you are the best, you don't need to prove it to anyone. You don't need to diminish others to elevate yourself. You simply are, and that knowing is enough. Many of you make the mistake of trying to become the best through effort and struggle. But I tell you this, you cannot become what you already are. Your task is not to become the best, but to recognize and assume that you already are the best. This is what Scripture means when it says, be still and know that I am God. Consider this. Everything you're experiencing now, every limitation, every feeling of being less than others, is simply the harvested fruit of your past assumptions. The universe has been faithfully reflecting back to you what you have assumed about yourself. If you've assumed others are better, the universe has provided evidence to support this assumption. But here is the liberating truth. You can change this pattern in a single moment by assuming a new concept of self. When you assume you are the best, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect this new assumption. This is law, and the law never fails. Let me tell you something about assuming you are the best. It has nothing to do with ego or pride. It's about recognizing your divine nature and allowing it to express through you. When you truly assume this state, you naturally want others to recognize and express their divine nature as well. This is why the command is to love your neighbor as yourself. When you truly recognize your own divine nature, you automatically get others. In others, you don't need to compete with them because you understand that their success doesn't diminish your own greatness. Expressing your divine nature means living from the assumption that you are the best version of yourself right now, in this moment. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances change, but now. For in consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no waiting, no becoming, there is only being. Let me share with you a principle that many find difficult to accept. Your current circumstances have no power to prevent you from assuming you are the best. Your bank account, your education, your background, your past failures, none of these can stop you from assuming a new concept of self. They are merely shadows of past assumptions. Many of you say, but Neville, how can I assume I'm the best when others are more qualified, more successful, more experienced? I tell you this, these comparisons exist only in your imagination. And if they exist in your imagination, they can be revised in your imagination. For imagination creates reality. Consider this, every great individual who ever lived first assumed their greatness before it became visible to others. They didn't wait for circumstances to make them great. They assumed their greatness, and circumstances had to conform to their assumption. This is the law. When you truly assume you are the best, something remarkable happens in consciousness. All sense of strain, all need to prove yourself, all fear of competition falls away. You begin to move through life with a confidence that needs no external validation. Let me tell you something about this state of being the best. It's not about being better than others. It's about being better than your previous concept of yourself. When you assume this state, you naturally inspire others to rise to their best as well. For when one rises, all rise. Here's a profound truth about assuming you are the best. The universe cannot give you less than what you assume for yourself. If you assume mediocrity, the universe must provide experiences of mediocrity. If you assume excellence, the universe must provide experiences of excellence. Assuming excellence means occupying the state of being excellent in your imagination until it becomes your dominant feeling. Not just during meditation or visualization, but in every moment of your daily life. Your every thought, your every action, your every reaction must spring from this new assumption. Let me share with you what happens when you truly assume you are the best. Your walk changes, your talk changes, your posture changes, not through conscious effort, but as a natural expression of your new self-concept. The universe must then reshape itself to match this new expression. Many of you make the mistake of trying to act confident while maintaining an inner feeling of inadequacy. But I tell you this, the universe responds not to your outer actions, but to your inner feeling tone. You must feel your excellence in the very depths of your being. Consider this right now, in this very moment, there are infinite states of consciousness available to you. The state of being the best already exists, complete and perfect. Your task is not to create this state, but to occupy it through your assumption. When you assume you are the best, you stop seeking approval from others. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop making excuses for why you can't succeed. These behaviors cannot exist in the consciousness of one who truly knows their own excellence. Let me tell you something crucial about maintaining this state. You will be tested. The world of Caesar will present you with evidence that seems to contradict your assumption. Old circumstances, old relationships, old patterns will persist for a time. This is law. But here's the secret. These circumstances have no power except the power you give them through your reaction. If you maintain your assumption of being the best despite contrary evidence, that very evidence must change to match your assumption. Handling contrary evidence is where most people falter in their assumption of being the best. When circumstances seem to deny your assumption, when others doubt you, when results don't immediately appear, this is when you must stand most firmly in your conviction. Let me share with you a principle that has proven itself countless times. The outer world will continue to reflect your old concept of self for a time. This is not a denial of your new assumption. It is an opportunity to strengthen it. Every circumstance that seems to deny your excellence is actually an opportunity to prove your assumption. Many of you abandon your assumption of being the best at the first sign of failure or criticism. But I tell you this, those very failures, those very criticisms, when met with unwavering assumption of your excellence, become the building blocks of your success. For what you persist in assuming must become your reality. Consider this. When you truly know you are the best, failure becomes impossible. You may face temporary setbacks, but in your consciousness, these are merely stepping stones to your inevitable success. This is how the great ones think. And this is how you must think if you would assume your greatness. The universe responds not to what others think of you, not to your past performance, not to your current circumstances, but to your persistent assumption. If you maintain the feeling of being the best despite all evidence to the contrary, the universe must, and I emphasize must, reorganize itself to match your assumption. Let me tell you something about persistence in your assumption. It's not about duration in time, but about the intensity of conviction. One moment of complete acceptance of your excellence is worth more than years of half-hearted affirmations. The universe responds not to time, but to the intensity of your assumption. Here's a profound truth about maintaining your assumption. You don't maintain it by fighting against current conditions. You maintain it by remaining so centered in your excellence that current conditions become irrelevant. Just as light doesn't fight darkness, it simply shines. You don't fight against limitations. You simply radiate excellence. Radiating excellence comes from a deep inner conviction that transcends all external circumstances. When you truly assume you are the best, this assumption radiates from you naturally, without effort, without strain, without trying to convince others. It becomes as natural as breathing. Let me share with you what I mean by radiating excellence. When you wake in the morning, before you even open your eyes, feel the naturalness of being the best. Not with excitement or enthusiasm, but with the quiet certainty of knowing who you really are. This feeling should be as natural as knowing your own name. Many of you try to radiate excellence through outer actions, through your clothes, your possessions, your achievements. But I tell you this, true excellence radiates from within. It's not something you do, it's something you are. The outer manifestations will follow naturally when your inner assumption is secure. Consider this. Everything in your world right now is a reflection of your past radiation. If you've been radiating doubt, uncertainty, or feelings of inadequacy, the universe has faithfully reflected these back to you. The universe can only reflect what you radiate from within. When you truly radiate excellence, something remarkable happens. Others begin to recognize and respond to it. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because they can't help but respond to the conviction you carry within. This is why Scripture says, "Let your light so shine before men." Let me tell you something vital about radiating excellence. It must be consistent. You cannot radiate excellence for an hour and then return to radiating doubt and limitation. The universe responds to your predominant radiation, not to your occasional moments of feeling confident. Here's a profound truth about radiation. It affects everything in your world. When you truly radiate excellence, every person you meet, every circumstance you encounter must adjust itself to match your radiation. This is law, and the law never fails. Your radiation affects your world in ways that your logical mind could never conceive. When you consistently radiate the feeling of being the best, the entire universe must, and I emphasize must, rearrange itself to reflect this radiation back to you in the form of corresponding circumstances, events, and relationships. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this radiation of excellent radiation. People who previously doubted you begin to see you differently. Opportunities that seemed close to you suddenly appear. Circumstances that appeared limiting begin to transform. Not because you're manipulating the outer world, but because your radiation is creating a new world. Many of you ask how long it will take for your world to reflect your new radiation. But I tell you this, time is not a factor in consciousness. The moment you achieve a complete conviction of being the best, the entire universe begins its reorganization. The time it takes for this to become visible depends solely on the intensity of your conviction. Consider this right now in this very moment. There are infinite versions of you existing simultaneously. There's a version where you're struggling, a version where you're succeeding, a version where you're the absolute best in your field. Your radiation determines which version you experience. When you truly understand this, you stop trying to compete with others. You realize that your only competition is with your previous concept of self. The only person you need to be better than is who you were yesterday. And this improvement comes not through strain or effort, but through assuming a higher concept of self. Let me tell you something about this radiation of excellence. It must become your natural state. Just as you don't think about breathing, you shouldn't have to think about being the best. It should be your default state, your natural way of being in the world. Here's a profound truth about maintaining this radiation. You don't maintain it by affirming it or by trying to convince others. You maintain it by living from it, by making it so much a part of your consciousness that you can't conceive of being any other way. Living from the state of being the best means making it your constant dwelling place in consciousness. Just as you naturally live in your physical home without constantly reminding yourself that it's your home, you must naturally live in the consciousness of being the best without constant mental effort. Let me share with you what happens when you truly live from this state. Your decisions change, your choices change, your responses to challenges change, not because you're trying to act differently, but because these new behaviors are the natural expression of your new state of consciousness. Many of you try to live from this state for a few hours or days, then slip back into your old patterns of thinking. But I tell you this, you must make a complete and permanent move into this new state. You must burn the bridges to your old concept of self. There can be no going back, no visiting your old limitations. Consider this, every great achievement in human history came from someone who dared to live from the state of being the best. They didn't wait until circumstances confirmed their greatness. They assumed their greatness first. And circumstances had no choice but to conform to their assumption. When you truly live from the state of being the best, criticism cannot touch you, not because you've become immune to it, but because you're living in a state where criticism is irrelevant. Just as a king doesn't defend his right to the throne, you don't defend your excellence, you simply live from it. Let me tell you something vital about living from this state. It requires no effort once you're truly established in it. Just as it requires no effort to be who you currently believe yourself to be, it requires no effort to be the best once you fully assume that state. Here's a profound truth about living from the state of being the best. It transforms not just your future, but your past as well. When you fully occupy the state, you begin to see how every past experience, even the seemingly negative ones, contributed to your excellence. Many of you believe that being the best means constantly striving, constantly pushing, constantly competing. But I tell you this, true excellence comes from a state of being, not from doing. When you occupy the state of being the best, your actions flow naturally from that state without strain or effort. Consider this right now. You're living from some concept of self. This concept might be that you're average, that others are better, that you need to struggle to succeed. And the universe has faithfully reflected this concept back to you. But I tell you this, you can shift to a new concept of self in a single moment of understanding. When you truly grasp that being the best is your natural state, your divine inheritance, something remarkable happens. All the energy you've been using to compete, to prove yourself, to overcome limitations becomes available for creative expression. You stop trying to become and simply allow yourself to be. Let me tell you something about this state of being the best. It's not about superiority over others. It's about expressing your highest potential, about being the best version of yourself. When you truly occupy this state, you naturally want others to recognize and express their excellence as well. Here's a profound truth about living as the best. It's the most natural thing in the world once you understand your true identity. You are God's own imagination made manifest. How could you be anything less than the best? Any limitation you experience is simply a limitation you've accepted in imagination. Accepting your true identity as the best version of yourself requires a complete revision of everything you've believed about who you are. You must understand that your current concept of self, with all its limitations and doubts, is just as much an assumed state as the one I'm asking you to adopt. Let me share with you what happens when you fully accept your true identity. First, all sense of unworthiness falls away. You stop questioning whether you deserve success, whether you're good enough, whether you can achieve your goals. You know with absolute certainty that excellence is your natural state. Many of you have lived so long with a limited concept of self that being the best seems like an impossible dream. But I tell you this, that very feeling of impossibility is itself an assumption. And like all assumptions, it can be changed in a single moment through the power of your wonderful human imagination. Consider this. Every limitation you now accept, every feeling of being less than the best, is nothing more than a habit of consciousness. And habits, no matter how long established, can be changed through persistent assumption of a new state. This is law, and the law never fails. When you truly accept your identity as the best, your entire world must reshape itself to match this new self-concept. People who once intimidated you will find themselves responding to your new radiation. Circumstances that seem beyond your reach will naturally align themselves with your new assumption. Let me tell you something vital about maintaining this new identity. You don't maintain it through willpower or positive thinking. You maintain it through understanding. Once you truly understand that being the best is your natural state, you can no more doubt it than you can doubt your own existence. Here's a profound truth about your true identity. It's not something you need to create or achieve. It already exists, complete and perfect, waiting for you to step into it through assumption. Your only task is to accept it, to occupy it, to live from it. Many of you fluctuate between excellent and feeling inadequate, depending on the external circumstances. But I tell you this, such fluctuation is impossible when you truly occupy the state of being the best. Just as a king doesn't stop being a king during challenges, you don't stop being excellent when facing obstacles. Consider this, every experience you encounter is simply an opportunity to express your excellence. Even apparent failures become opportunities to demonstrate your unshakable conviction in your own greatness. For when you live from the state of being the best, failure becomes impossible. When you truly live from this identity, something remarkable happens to your relationship with time. You stop waiting to become excellent in the future and start expressing excellence now. For in consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no waiting, no becoming, there is only being. Let me tell you something crucial about maintaining this state. The world will test your conviction. It must, for this is law. Old circumstances, old relationships, old patterns of failure will persist for a time. But these are not obstacles to your assumption. They are opportunities to strengthen it. Here's a profound truth about living from your true identity. It requires no effort once you're established in it. Just as you don't need effort to be who you currently believe yourself to be. You need no effort to be the best once you've fully accepted this as your true identity. Uncovering your natural excellence is like removing layers of dust from a perfect mirror. The brilliance was always there. It was merely covered by accumulated beliefs in limitation, doubt, and unworthiness. As you remove these false beliefs, your natural excellence shines forth with ever-increasing clarity. Let me share with you what happens when these layers of limitation begin to fall away. First, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop needing external confirmation of your excellence. You know who you are with such certainty that no external opinion can shake your conviction. Many of you have accumulated so many layers of limiting beliefs that your natural excellence seems like a distant dream. But I tell you this, these limitations are no more permanent than dust on a mirror. They can be wiped away in an instant through the power of your assumption. Consider this, every limiting belief you now hold, every doubt about your excellence, every fear of inadequacy was learned. And what can be learned can be unlearned. Your task is not to create excellence, but to remove the barriers to its expression. When you truly begin this process of uncovering your excellence, something remarkable happens to your entire worldview. You start to see that every circumstance, every relationship, every experience has been serving to reveal your true nature. Even your apparent failures have been leading you to this recognition. Let me tell you something crucial about this uncovering process. It happens not through effort, but through understanding. The moment you truly understand that excellence is your natural state, the layers of limitation begin to fall away of their kin. Here's a profound truth about uncovering your excellence. The process is instantaneous in consciousness, but may appear gradual in manifestation. The moment you fully accept your true identity, the entire universe begins its reorganization to reflect this truth. The time it takes for this to become visible depends solely on the completeness of your acceptance. The process of accepting your natural excellence requires a complete revision of your self-concept. You must be willing to release every belief, every idea, every concept that contradicts your true identity as the best. This is not something you do gradually. It must be absolute and complete. Let me share with you what happens when this acceptance becomes total. First, all internal conflict ceases. The battle between who you think you should be and who you think you are ends completely. There is only the quiet certainty of knowing your true identity as the best. Many of you try to accept your excellence while still holding on to doubts and limitations. But I tell you this, such partial acceptance is no acceptance at all. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live from the state of being the best while maintaining a backup identity of limitation. Consider this, your current concept of self, with all its limitations and doubts, is just as much an assumed state as the one I'm asking you to adopt. The only difference is that you've practiced your current concept longer. But time is no factor in consciousness. A new state, fully accepted, becomes just as natural as any long-held belief. When you truly accept your excellence without reservation, something remarkable happens to your entire experience of life. What once seemed like obstacles become opportunities. What once seemed like competition becomes irrelevant. What once seemed like limitations become launching pads for greater expression. Let me tell you something vital about this acceptance. It must be unconditional. You can accept your excellence only when circumstances support it. You must maintain this acceptance regardless of external conditions, knowing that conditions must conform to your consciousness, not the other way around. Here's a profound truth about complete acceptance. It transforms not just your future, but your past as well. When you fully accept your excellence, you begin to see how every past experience, even the seemingly negative ones, was perfectly designed to lead you to this recognition. Consider for a moment those times in your life when you felt lost, uncertain, not knowing which path to take or what action to pursue. Perhaps you're in such a situation right now. The world around you may seem chaotic, options may appear limited, and the future uncertain. But I say unto you, in these very moments of apparent confusion and indecision lies your greatest opportunity for growth and manifestation. But what is this that you must do when you don't know what to do? It is not a matter of external action or logical analysis. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in your very being that aligns you with the creative power of the universe. It is about recognizing that the answer, the guidance, the path forward is already within you, waiting to be imagined into being. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world, your consciousness. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your imaginal acts. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that by carefully choosing and vividly imagining a desired state, even in the face of uncertainty, you are actively creating a new reality that will unfold in your experience. This understanding is crucial, For it shifts the entire paradigm of how you approach moments of uncertainty. No longer are you a helpless being at the mercy of external circumstances, desperately seeking guidance from the outside world. You become the active creator of your reality, knowing that as you imagine and feel a desired state, the universe must rearrange itself to match this new inner assumption, providing the guidance and clarity you seek. But how, you may ask, can one tap into this inner wisdom when the outer world seems so chaotic and uncertain? The answer lies in the creative power of your wonderful human imagination, combined with the intensity of your feeling and belief. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker, and your feelings are not mere reactions to external stimuli. Together, they form the very workshop in which reality is forged. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind, which is one with the universal creative force, does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and feel as true and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true in your imaginal acts. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality, regardless of how uncertain or impossible the situation may seem to your rational mind. So when you find yourself in a moment of confusion, not knowing what to do, this is what you must do. Turn within to your imagination. Create a scene that implies your desired outcome has already been realized. Feel the relief, the clarity, the certain knowing the perfect path has been revealed to you. Live in this imaginal act as though it were your physical reality. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of what to do when you don't know what to do. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality, to find clarity in confusion, lies within you, waiting to be expressed through your conscious imaginal acts. It is about understanding that your outer world of uncertainty is nothing more than a reflection of your inner conversations and imaginal acts, which can be radically altered by assuming a new state in imagination. Consider the biblical phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." This is not a mere poetic expression or a call for passive acceptance. It is a statement of cosmic law, an invitation to recognize the power of your inner being. When you become still, when you quiet the chatter of your worried mind and enter into your imagination, you are connecting with the God presence within you, the source of all wisdom and guidance. But let me be clear, this turning within, this use of your imagination in moments of uncertainty, is not about escapism or denial of your current circumstances. It is about a total immersion in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of the perfect solution already realized. When you truly embody this practice, you naturally assume the thoughts, feelings, and inner conversations of the person who has already received the guidance they seek. You go to sleep not as the person bound by uncertainty and confusion, but as the person who is clear, confident, and moving purposefully towards their desired outcome. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person facing a critical decision in their life, perhaps choosing between two career paths, unsure of which to pursue. Their outer reality shows no clear signs of which path to take. Now imagine this person deciding to turn within to their imagination. As they quiet their mind, they create a scene that implies they have already made the perfect choice and are thriving in their new career. They feel the satisfaction, the certainty, the joy of knowing they are on the right path. They allow this feeling to permeate every cell of their being. They live in this imaginal act not just for a moment, but they return to it again and again, especially as they drift off to sleep at night. When they awaken, something has shifted. They may not see immediate external changes in their circumstances, but internally, they are no longer the same person. They have experienced the reality of clarity and certainty, and this new self-concept begins to reshape their outer world. In the days and weeks that follow, they find themselves naturally drawn to information, people, and opportunities related to one of the career paths. They approach the decision-making process with a newfound sense of calm and confidence. Ideas and insights that were previously obscured suddenly become clear. And as they continue to live from this state of clarity and certainty in their imagination, their outer world begins to reflect this inner knowing. The perfect path reveals itself, often in ways they could never have logically planned or anticipated. This principle applies to every aspect of your life where you find yourself uncertain or not knowing what to do. Whether you're facing a relationship challenge, a health concern, a financial decision, or any other situation that leaves you feeling lost, the key is to first assume the state of clarity and knowing in your imagination. Feel the reality of having perfect guidance, of knowing exactly what to do. Live in that state, in your imagination, and knowing that you do so, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind that must grow into your outer reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, how can simply imagining a solution really provide guidance when I truly don't know what to do? Surely I need to gather more information or seek advice from others. And to this I say external information and advice can certainly play a role, but they are secondary to the wisdom that comes from within. When you turn to your imagination first, when you assume the state of clarity and knowing, you align yourself with infinite intelligence. From this aligned state, you will be guided to the right information, the right people, the right circumstances that will support your desired outcome. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you remain in a state of confusion and uncertainty, constantly seeking answers outside yourself, you are breathing life into a reality that perpetuates that confusion. But when you turn within, when you assume the state of clarity, and knowing in your imagination, you set in motion a series of events that must culminate in the outer expression of this new inner reality. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. It is about aligning your inner conversations and imaginal acts with the state of clarity and guidance, recognizing that this desired reality is seeking expression through you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and unwavering belief. But let me warn you, this shift in consciousness, this practice of turning within when faced with uncertainty, is not always an easy task. The old habits of worry, of seeking answers outside yourself, of feeling lost and confused, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of approaching uncertainty, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in. Old thought patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your imaginal act of clarity and knowing. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering commitment to living in a state of clarity and guidance in your imagination, even in the face of outer uncertainty, is what allows you to truly transform your reality. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your chaos of confusion or forcefully push away thoughts of uncertainty. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of clarity and guidance, to align your entire consciousness with the reality where you know exactly what to do. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to fully embody the state of clarity and knowing, as you feel the reality of being divinely guided, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. Turning within and using your imagination when you don't know what to do is a practice, a way of life. It's a constant choice to maintain this new approach to uncertainty, regardless of appearances. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to master this practice by using it once. This is about persistently turning within, about maintaining the consciousness of clarity and divine guiding in and day out until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that your perception of uncertainty begins to shift. What once seemed like confusing, chaotic situations now appear as opportunities for growth and new possibilities. Challenges become stepping stones to greater understanding. You begin to see yourself as the empowered being you truly are, knowing that divine guidance is always available to you through your imagination. Now some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this practice of turning within when my outer world still seems uncertain? How can I persist in feeling clarity and guidance when circumstances seem to contradict it? And to this I say, your imagination infused with feeling is more powerful than any circumstance. Consider for a moment, have you ever been deeply moved by a story, whether in a book or a movie? In those moments, were you not feeling real emotions based on imaginary events? Your feelings were real, even though the events were not happening in your physical reality. This is the power you must harness when you turn within in moments of uncertainty. You must use your imagination to create scenarios that evoke the feelings associated with having perfect clarity and guidance. Imagine how you would feel if you knew with absolute certainty the perfect path to take. Feel the relief, the confidence, the sense of peace that would come with this knowing. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make your imaginal act as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the sensations in your body associated with clarity and confidence. Hear the words of wisdom that come from within. See yourself moving through your life with purpose and direction. Make it so real that your rational mind cannot distinguish between this inner experience and physical reality. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific solutions or outcomes. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with having divine guidance and knowing exactly what to do. For it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Instead of trying to imagine the specific details of a solution to puzzle, capture the feeling essence of being divinely guided. Imagine a warm, comforting light filling your being, bringing with it a sense of absolute knowing. Feel the peace, the certainty, the alignment that comes with this state. See yourself moving through your day with an unshakable confidence, knowing that each step you take is divinely guided. By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your solution to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true art of knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. It's not about forcing yourself to come up with a solution through sheer willpower. It's about aligning yourself with the truth of your divine nature, your oneness with the creative power of the universe. It's about living each day from the state of being divinely guided regardless of outer appearances. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps you start to notice more synchronicities in your life, or you find yourself naturally drawn to information or people that provide the guidance you seek, or solutions to problems that once seemed impossible begin to present themselves effortlessly. These are all signs that your inner shift, brought about by turning within, is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your imaginal acts are taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from the state of divine guidance in your imagination. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself navigating complex situations with ease and grace. You may notice that decisions that once paralyzed you with uncertainty now become clear and obvious. You may achieve outcomes you once thought impossible with a sense of effortless alignment. And as you continue to turn within and live from the state of divine guidance, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure of ever-unfolding clarity and purpose. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which all desired experiences naturally flow. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly embodying the state of being divinely guided, when you're fully living from this consciousness, you no longer need external circumstances to confirm your state. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that you are always divinely guided. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner assurance that you're most likely to experience a life where you always know exactly what to do. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to find solutions and make decisions? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're consistently turning within and living from the state of divine guidance, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between trying to figure things out through sheer mental effort and allowing solutions to unfold naturally. When you're trying to force clarity, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and uncertainty. When you're living from the consciousness of divine guidance, actions flow naturally from your aligned state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly what steps to take. Consider the example of a river flowing to the sea. The river doesn't strain to find its path. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. It simply flows, naturally finding the path of least resistance. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the consciousness of divine guidance through your imagination, you allow your life to unfold naturally and beautifully, always knowing the perfect steps to take. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate and focused embodiment of the state of being divinely guided. It requires faith, not blind faith in external circumstances, but faith in the creative power of your consciousness and your ability to always know what to do through your connection with infinite intelligence. This faith is not about believing that you'll figure things out someday in the future. It's about knowing that you are divinely guided now in this very moment, and that your outer world must inevitably conform to this new inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in turning within and living from the state of divine guidance, you'll begin to see evidence of always knowing what to do in your outer world. These signs may start small, an unexpected insight that solves a problem, a chance encounter that provides exactly the information you need, a sudden clarity about a decision you've been struggling with. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world, shaped by your imaginal acts, is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of a life where you always know is now exactly what to do, even in the face of apparent uncertainty. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that turning within and relying on their imagination for guidance might somehow disconnect them from reality or lead to impractical decisions. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you truly understand the principle of turning within for guidance, you realize that you are not separate from reality. You are the creator of your reality. As you elevate your own consciousness by connecting with the divine guidance within, you are elevating your ability to navigate the physical world with grace and wisdom. As we embark on this journey together, I ask you to cast aside all notions of limitation, all beliefs of scarcity, and all fears that have held you in their grip. For in this moment, and in every moment hereafter, you possess the divine ability to compress eternity into the present instant. You are, in essence, the master of time itself. Consider, if you will, the nature of time. What is it truly? Is it the relentless ticking of the clock, the steady march of seconds, minutes, and hours? Or is it something far more fluid, far more malleable than we have been led to believe? I tell you now with absolute certainty that time is nothing more than a construct of consciousness, a canvas upon which we paint the masterpiece of our lives. When you act as if you have no time left, you are not surrendering to a finite existence. Rather, you are claiming your birthright as an infinite being, capable of transcending the illusion of linear time. You are stepping into the eternal now, where all possibilities exist simultaneously, where your deepest desires are already fulfilled. Let us pause for a moment and truly contemplate this idea. Close your eyes, if you will, And imagine that this very instant is all you have. Feel the weight of that realization settle upon you. Now ask yourself, if this were truly my last moment, what would I do? How would I feel? What truths would I speak? What love would I express? As you sit there, eyes closed, fully immersed in the reality of this eternal now, you are tapping into the infinite power of your imagination. You are, at this very moment, breaking free from the shackles of past regrets and future anxieties. For what is imagination if not the very substance of eternity? The evidence of reality is not yet seen in the world of Caesar. Now open your eyes and look around you. The world may appear unchanged, but I assure you, a profound shift has occurred within you. You have, for a brief moment, lived in the compression of time. You have experienced the intensity and clarity that comes when we shed the illusion of endless tomorrows. But let us not be content with mere glimpses of this timeless state. The art of acting as if you have no time left requires consistent practice, unwavering focus, and a willingness to live with an intensity that may at first seem overwhelming. It demands that you maintain the urgency of your last moment, not just in quiet contemplation, but in every waking instant of your day. Imagine, if you will, a man who truly understands that his time is limited. He does not procrastinate. He does not waste precious moments on trivial matters. He speaks his truth boldly, loves deeply, creates passionately. How does this man carry himself? How does he interact with others? How does he approach his goals and dreams? This man, my friends, moves through the world with a sense of purpose that is palpable. He doesn't wait for the right time to pursue his passions. He understands that now is the only time there is. He doesn't hold back his love or his forgiveness, for he knows that each interaction could be his last. He creates with abandon, pouring his entire being into his work, for he understands that his creations are his legacy. This man is not living in fear of death. On the contrary, he is more alive than ever before. By embracing the finite nature of his physical existence, he has tapped into the infinite nature of his consciousness. He has compressed eternity into each moment, and in doing so, he has discovered the secret to truly living. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, if I act as if I have no time left, won't I become anxious or desperate? Won't I neglect my responsibilities in a mad rush to live life to the fullest? These are natural concerns, born from a misunderstanding of what it truly means to live, as if you have no time left. You see, acting as if you have no time left is not about frantically trying to cram a lifetime of experiences into each day. It's not about neglecting your duties or living recklessly. It's about bringing a new level of awareness, of presence to each moment of your life. It's about recognizing the preciousness of time and using it wisely in alignment with your highest purpose. When you truly embody this state of timelessness, you find that you naturally prioritize what's truly important. You stop putting off your dreams for some mythical future date. You cease engaging in petty conflicts or holding on to grudges. You begin to live from your highest self, expressing your divine nature in each thought, word, and deed. Consider the words of Scripture. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. This is not a command to achieve some impossible standard of behavior. It is an invitation to recognize your true nature, your oneness with the divine. When you act as if you have no time left, you are claiming this divine perfection in the eternal now. But how, you may ask, does one begin this practice? How does one act as if they have no time left in a world that seems designed to distract and delay? The answer, my dear friends, lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. Your imagination is the very bridge between time and eternity, the tool by which you can collapse life into moments. Begin by selecting a scene, a short, simple scene that embodies the life you would live if you truly had no time left. Perhaps it's a scene of you boldly declaring your love to someone you've admired from afar. Maybe it's the feeling of satisfaction as you put the final touches on your life's work. Or it could be the peace you feel as you forgive someone who has wronged you, knowing that life is too short for resentment. Now, enter that scene in your imagination. Do not merely visualize it as if watching a movie. Step into it. Be the protagonist in this drama of your creation. Feel the urgency, the clarity, the aliveness that comes with knowing this could be your final act. Make it as real and as vivid as you possibly can. And most importantly, feel the emotion, the intensity, the passion, the love that this compressed moment brings you. Repeat this imaginal act night after night, day after day. Let it be the last thing you experience before drifting off to sleep, and the first thing you return to upon waking. Live in this state as often as you can, for in doing so, you are collapsing time. You are acting as if you have no time left. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice profound shifts in your outer world. You may find yourself naturally taking bold actions that you previously would have postponed. You may notice a new depth in your relationships as you express your true feelings without hesitation. You may discover wells of creativity and productivity that you never knew you possessed. These changes, my friends, are not coincidences. They are the natural result of your shift in consciousness. They are the physical manifestation of your new understanding of time and your place within it. Do not question them. Do not doubt them. Simply accept them with gratitude, knowing that they are confirmation of the truth you have accepted in your imagination. But what of those moments when the old habits of procrastination and delay creep back in? What of those times when the world of Caesar seems to demand that you put off your dreams, that you wait for bees? This, beloved, is where your resolve is tested and strengthened. Remember, the outer world is a shadow, a reflection of past states of consciousness. It takes time for this shadow to fully align with your new state of being. During this period of transition, you must stand firm in your conviction. You must persist in your assumption that now is the only time you have to. When you feel yourself slipping back into old patterns, do not fight it. Do not resist it. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and then gently return to the feeling of timeless urgency. Remind yourself that your imagination is the reality and that the world of Caesar must conform to it in due time. For it is written, the vision has its own appointed hour, it ripens, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure, and it will not be late. As you continue to act as if you have no time left, you will find that your entire being begins to shift. Your thoughts naturally align with purposeful action. Your words carry the weight of truth and immediacy. Your actions spring from a place of clarity and conviction. You no longer wait for the perfect moment. You create perfection in each moment. This, my dear friends, is the art and science of living in the eternal now. It is the method by which you can transcend the limitations of linear time and step into the fullness of your divine nature. It is not a denial of death, but a profound affirmation of life. It is the practical application of the eternal power that resides within you, the power that is your divine birthright. As we delve deeper into this practice, let us consider the nature of reality itself. In the world of Caesar, reality appears fixed and unyielding, a solid construct that we must navigate with caution. But in the realm of imagination, in the kingdom of God within you, reality is fluid. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously, and you have the power to select the reality you wish to experience. When you act as if you have no time left, you are essentially stepping out of the illusion of fixed reality and into the fluid reality of imagination. You are selecting from the infinite possibilities that exist, the reality that aligns with your highest self. And as you dwell in that reality in your imagination, compressing eternity into each moment, you draw it into your physical experience. Consider the words of Scripture. In the twinkling of an eye, we shall all be changed. This is not a prophecy about some future event. It is a profound truth about the nature of consciousness. In the instant that you shift your awareness, in the moment that you decide to live, as if you have no time left, you are changed. And as you change, the world around you must change to reflect your new state of being. But my beloved listeners, I must caution you. This power is not to be used frivolously or for the harm of others. For in harming others, you only harm yourself. Remember, in the timeless reality of your true self, there is no other. We are all one, all expressions of the same divine consciousness. Therefore, use this power wisely for the betterment of all. As you practice acting as if you have no time left, you may find that your priorities begin to shift. What once seemed important may lose its urgency. What you thought you wanted may pale in comparison to the deep callings of your soul that now demand expression. This is natural and beautiful. It is a sign of your expanding consciousness, your growing awareness of what truly matters in the eternal now. Embrace these shifts. Allow your imagination to soar beyond the confines of your current desires. For in truth, the ultimate aim of this practice is not merely to accomplish more in less time, but to fully realize your oneness with the divine. It is to know beyond all doubt that you are an eternal being having a temporary human experience, that you are limitless, that you are, in essence, God expressing itself as you. Now, let us address a question that may have arisen in your minds. If I am to act as if I have no time left, does this mean I should abandon all long-term planning? Should I disregard the future entirely? The answer, my friends, is both yes and no. You see, abandoning long-term planning in the conventional sense is not the same as acting as if you have no time left. To truly embody this state requires a shift in consciousness so profound that your relationship with the future itself is transformed. You do not ignore the future, you bring it into the present through the power of your imagination. Imagine, if you will, a great artist working on their masterpiece. They do not fret about whether they will finish the work. They do not constantly check the clock or worry about running out of work time. They are fully immersed in the act of creation, bringing their entire being into each brushstroke. Yet, at the same time, they hold the vision of the completed work in their imagination. This is how you must approach your life when you act as if you have no time left. You bring the full force of your being into each moment while simultaneously holding the vision of your fulfilled desires in your imagination. You do not work towards your goals. You live from the state of their fulfillment now. As you practice this, you will find that your relationship with time itself begins to change. What once felt like a limited resource to be carefully rationed now becomes an abundant wellspring of possibility. For you understand that in the eternal now, there is time for everything that truly matters. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about cramming more activities into each day. It is about bringing more life into each moment. It is about understanding that the fullness of existence is available to you here and now, if only you have the courage to claim it. Now, let us delve deeper into the practical aspects of this practice. How does one maintain this state of timeless urgency throughout the day, amidst the demands and distractions of daily life? The key lies in cultivating a new habit of thought, a new way of perceiving and interacting with the world around you. Begin each day by immersing yourself in the feeling of timelessness. Before you open your eyes in the morning, spend a few moments in the eternal now, feeling the urgency and aliveness that comes from knowing this day could be your last. Let this feeling permeate your entire being so that you carry it with you as you rise and begin your day. As you go about your daily activities, continuously remind yourself of the preciousness of each moment. When faced with a decision, ask yourself, if this were my last day on earth, what would I choose? This simple question can shift your perspective dramatically, allowing you to approach situations from a place of clarity and purpose, rather than habit or fear. Practice gratitude for each moment, not from a place of scarcity, but from a place of abundance. Be thankful not for what you hope to experience in the future, but for what you are experiencing now. This attitude of gratitude aligns you with the frequency of the eternal now, drawing more reasons to be grateful into your life. Watch your words carefully, for they are powerful creators. Speak as if each word could be your last. Eliminate phrases of postponement or delay from your vocabulary. Instead of saying, I'll do it tomorrow, say, I choose to do this now. Instead of saying, I'm waiting for the right time, say, now is the right thing. Choose them as if they were your last. In your interactions with others, bring a new level of presence and authenticity. Listen as if it were the last time you would hear their voice. Speak your truth, as if it were your final opportunity to do so. Love as if this moment were all you had. For in truth, this moment is all you ever have. When you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of procrastination or delay, do not berate yourself. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and gently guide your consciousness back to the state of timeless urgency. Remember, this is a practice. Like any skill, it takes time and patience to master. Be kind to yourself as you learn and grow. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice a profound shift in your perception of the world. What once seemed like obstacles become opportunities for growth and expression. What once caused you anxiety is now met with calm resolve. You will find yourself naturally taking inspired action, effortlessly moving towards the realization of your deepest desires. But here, my beloved listeners, is where many stumble. As they begin to see the fruits of their new state of consciousness manifesting in the physical world, they become excited and impatient. They start to wonder how much time it will take for their desires to fully manifest. They look for signs and try to figure out the how and when of their manifestations. In doing so, they slip out of the timeless now and back into the linear thinking of past and future. This is a crucial point in your journey. When you begin to see your life transforming, when you notice the world rearranging itself to accommodate your new reality, you must hold steady in your assumption. Do not be moved by appearances. Do not try to figure out how or when your desire will manifest. Simply continue to live from the state of timeless urgency, knowing with unshakable faith that what you have imagined must come to pass. Remember the words of Scripture. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, your faith. Your absolute knowing that now is the only time there is the very substance that brings your desires into physical manifestation. It is the evidence of the unseen reality that exists in your imagination. As you continue to act as if you have no time left, you may find that your relationship with desire itself begins to change. You may discover that the joy you sought in the fulfillment of your desires was available to you all along. For in truth, the state of timeless urgency is not about frantically chasing after experiences. It is a state of consciousness, a way of being in the world. When you truly embody this state, you realize that there is nothing to seek, nothing to strive for. Everything you could ever want or need is available to you now, waiting to be expressed. This realization brings a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. You no longer postpone your joy, for you know that joy is the very essence of your being, available in each eternal moment. This, my dear friends, is the ultimate freedom. It is the state of being that all spiritual teachings point towards. It is the kingdom of heaven that is within you. When you act as if you have no time left, you are claiming your rightful place in this kingdom. You are acknowledging your oneness with the divine, your role as a co-creator of reality. But let us be clear, this state of consciousness does not mean that you become reckless or irresponsible. On the contrary, when you act as if you have no time left, you become more responsible, more intentional in your choices. You become acutely aware of the impact of your thoughts, words, and actions. You understand that each moment is an opportunity to express your highest self, to contribute to the world in a meaningful way. As we near the end of our time together, I want to address a question that may have arisen in your minds. If I am to act as if I have no time left, does this mean I should never rest or take time for self-care? The answer, my beloved, is that rest and self-care take on a new meaning when you live from this state of consciousness. You see, when you act as if you have no time left, your rest becomes more restful, your self-care more nurturing. For you understand the preciousness of these moments. You don't rest out of exhaustion or escape, but out of a deep honoring of your being. You don't engage in self-care out of obligation or fear, but out of love for the divine expression that you are. In this state, you may find that you accomplish more than you ever thought possible, yet with less struggle and strain. For you are no longer pushing against the current of life, but flowing with it. You are no longer trying to make things happen in some imagined future, but allowing them to unfold naturally in the eternal now. And so, my dear friends, as we conclude this exploration of acting as if you have no time left, I urge you to take this practice into your daily life. Begin now in this very moment to live from the state of timeless urgency. Feel the aliveness, the clarity, the love that comes from knowing that now is all you have. Remember, this is not about living in fear of death. It is about embracing the fullness of life. It is about aligning yourself with the deepest truth of your being. It is about claiming your divine inheritance as an eternal being expressing itself in time. As you leave this place and return to your daily lives, carry with you the knowledge that now is the only time there is. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. Let it transform your perception of the world and your place in it. For in truth, you are not separate from the world. You are the world, experiencing itself through your unique perspective. Act as if you have no time left, and watch as your life takes on a new depth and richness. Live from the eternal now, and see how your path unfolds before you with grace and ease. Be the person who compresses eternity into each moment, and discover that you have always been that person, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. Go forth, my beloved, and create the life you desire. For you are the operant power. You are the divine made flesh. You are the creator of your reality. Everything you could ever want or need is available to you now. Claim it, live it, and always remember the world is yourself pushed out. As you transform your inner world, your outer world must follow. This is the law. This is the promise. This is the truth that sets you free. In closing, I leave you with this thought. Each breath you take is both your first and your last. Each moment is a beginning and an ending. In this paradox lies the secret of eternal life. For when you fully embrace the finite nature of your physical existence, you tap into the infinite nature of your consciousness. Live as if you have no time left, and you will discover that you have all the time in the world. For in the eternal now, time ceases to be a limitation and becomes a canvas for your creative expression. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your willingness to explore these profound truths. May you go forth in the knowing that you are loved, that you are powerful beyond measure, and that now is the only time there is. For you are, in truth, the eternal expressed in time. God bless you all.